again, I said this to my 12-year-old self, but don't be afraid of the failure. It's part of the
Yeah.
human experience. It's how you learn. Failure is okay. I think sometimes we put too much emphasis on like, oh, I'm afraid to like mess up, but that's how we learn.
Right.
How can you
Yeah.
know what you don't know? So
Welcome to the Champion This podcast with Brianna, Salvatore, Dueck, and Chelsea Poppens, where we share the incredible stories of athletes and entertainers who are using their platforms to create positive change in the world and the communities they live in.
And today we have Kayla Alexander on the show with us. She is a Canadian professional basketball player. Her and I met while playing in the WNBA San Antonio. Let's go. And she also played for some really awesome other teams besides San Antonio. She played for Chicago Sky, Minnesota Lynx, Indiana Fever. And then she's also a Canadian national basketball team member, where she's played in Tokyo and Paris Olympics. So pretty impressive. And on top of that, she's an author and illustrator of a children's book called The Magic of Basketball, which is a children's book that teaches the values of perseverance, teamwork, self-belief through sports. And she's been pretty busy recently as the founder of, is it co-founder or founder?
co-founder.
Co-founder of Tall Size, whose mission is to empower and inspire young girls and women, particularly those who are taller and feel out of place in their bodies, promoting self-confidence and body positivity. So on top of being an athlete, she's an artist, she's a creative, she's also an advocate for women in sports, helping mentor young athletes and being involved in the community and things in her area. So welcome to the show, Kayla.
That is quite the intro. Wow. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to finally chat and just talk basketball and life with you guys.
Yeah, so good. Well, you deserve all those flowers. We're so excited to have you on the pod. And to start things off, we want to take it back to that moment when you first fell in love with basketball. You grew up in Ontario, but when did you realize and really fall in love with basketball?
So, funny story. My dad played basketball growing up. He went to like Niagara University, got a scholarship, so he was always really big. And if you come to Toronto, like in the basketball world, like all the old heads, if you ask or if you say Joe Alexander, they're like the Joe Alexander. Like they all know my pops. He was really well known. He could jump out of the gym. I did not get those genes. Could dunk like crazy, and just everybody knew him in the basketball world. So the thing that always surprised me, but I also loved about my dad, is that he never forced me into basketball. It was actually my friend Nicole, also my co-founder with Tall Size, who introduced me to basketball. It was in grade 7, I believe. We moved to Barrie in grade 6, which is way up north. And the following year, I was in her class, and she used to be the tall one in class before I showed up. And then I was like the new tall girl. And she came up to me and she's like, "You're tall. You should come to this basketball tryout with me." So I'm like, "Sure, what the heck? Why not?" So I go. Obviously, I'm not very good. I try to do a layup. I brick the ball. I'm playing hot potato with the basketball. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just tall and athletic. And it's 3 rounds of tryouts. And at the end of the tryouts, to like my surprise, I'm sure my teammates' surprise, and like everybody's surprise, I made the team. And my mom was shocked. So she went to the coach and she's like, "Are you sure?" And
Are you
the
sure?
coach,
Your mom.
yeah. My mom keeps it real. I love my parents. They always keep it real with me. And they went up to the coach, and it was Monique Kovacs and Keith Macy. And I'll never forget, coach said, "I can't teach hype. I can teach Kayla how to play the game of basketball." And that's how my journey with game of basketball started. And I have not stopped playing since. So I'm very thankful to Nicole for getting me to that tryout, the coaches for giving me a chance, and then just it's amazing the beautiful journey that basketball has taken me on, the ups and the downs. I wouldn't change it for anything.
That's
love
great.
that.
You can't teach height. That is true. You had all the raw skills. They saw it in you.
Yeah, they saw something because they helped develop it because it's a journey.
And
Yeah.
you're the oldest in your family, correct?
Yeah, so me and then my sister Keisha were 15 months apart. She wrote the children's book with me. And then my younger brother Kyle, he's the tallest. He's like 6'11", and he's 5 years younger than me. And he's actually currently playing professionally overseas as well. He's in Ankara, Turkey this year. Right now.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is that really cool to have like you can reach out to him and have shared experiences of playing abroad and like be like, "Hey, how's it going over there?" And you can complain about the same things or
Yep, and he gets it too. I feel like after we were always like missing each other. Like when I was in high school, he was still in elementary school. Then when I get to college, he's just getting like we're always missing each other.
Mm,
But now that we're in the same stage of life, we've gone so much closer, and yeah, just the same lived experiences.
yeah.
He gets it. Like it's been a fun experience to just go on that journey with him as well too, and just the growth in our relationship as well.
Mm. Mhm.
That's so cool. Do you ever train together, like in the summers? Let's get buckets
Um,
together.
Not recently, mostly because like I think this is kind of sad, but in a whole year, I'll be lucky if we're in the same country, no, if we're in the same room, like maybe 3 times a year. Like
Okay.
Mm.
our
Yeah.
schedules don't mesh at all. Like we're always missing
Yeah.
each other and we're both overseas a lot. So
Yeah.
we don't get as much training together. But in high school, he was in high school, I think, and I was home for some reason or I was training. I don't know. I came back and they'd let me use the gym in the morning. So Kyle went with me and we were playing 101. And this is back when I was still somewhat taller than him. Didn't last very long. I accidentally gave him like a bloody nose once when we were
Yeah.
playing 101.
Accidentally.
Yes.
Just put
I've
them in his
never harmed
place.
someone on purpose. But yeah,
She's not.
we
She may
always
not
joke
be a
about that.
trash talker, but she will.
Them elbows.
Yeah,
But
those
then
sharp elbows.
several years later, though, when we played again, he was throwing my shot like into the stands. Like he's huge. So,
It
but yeah.
happens.
So yeah.
Mm. So, at what point did you actually realize that you could play professional, or when did that dream take spark?
This is gonna sound weird, but I think the reality hit me the summer going into my senior year of college. And I
Mm,
remember this vividly because my dad called me all excited, and I'm like, "What's going on?" I thought he won the
yeah.
lottery,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Guess what?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "You're the last name in the WNBA mock draft list." And I was like, "Oh, so people know me." He was so excited. I was literally like the last name, and then that like encouraged me, inspired me. I was like, "Okay, so people could think I could play this professionally. I can make a living doing this." So that was like a lot of encouragement that I needed, and then I
Mm.
throughout the year, I like used that as motivation, and it just watched my name steadily move up that mock draft list throughout the year as I was performing, and yeah, that's I think that was the moment where it hit me where I was like, oh, I can keep doing this.
So cool. I love that. It's crazy what that hope will do for you, right? You're like, "Oh, I can do this." Like how it
Yes.
changes even a belief in yourself and probably the way you approach your senior year, I'm sure. For
Oh
maybe give you like
yes.
more confidence and all the things.
It definitely did because I remember that was an eventful summer. I remember that summer was also the first time I tried out for the Olympic team for Team Canada,
Okay,
and I got
nice.
cut. And I remember that just having a big effect on me. And I was like, hurt because I guess it was like just a progression. Like I'd played Team Ontario, I played junior nationals. The next
Mhm.
progression is to play for your national team, and then getting cut was not part of my plan. So that
Yeah.
kind of hurt, and I used that as motivation as well. And I remember I wrote out like a whole list of goals I wanted for that year, put it up on my wall, and just stayed motivated and was able to accomplish most of them. So.
Mm.
Mhm. To take it back just a second, so I would love to talk about your time at Syracuse College where you played and were a hooper. What was the recruitment process like for you? And was it always a goal to play college basketball in the US?
So the college basketball became a goal for me in the ninth grade when I got my first ever, just like, you know how like they just send like letters to athletes, not saying like we want you, but like we're interested in you, like we have our eye on you, just to let you know about the university. So I was in grade 9, Barry at the time still, and I got this letter from Texas Tech University, and I was like, how in the world did some school in Texas find me all the way in Barry? So that like the light bulb went off, and I was like, okay, I can get an education out of this. Like schools think that I'm good enough, or I'm getting to the point where I could probably like compete for their schools. So that was for me the moment where I was like, okay, I could probably do this. And then as far as the whole recruitment process, I'll be honest, I didn't enjoy it that much. I was a very shy kid. I didn't like talking to people, very introverted. Um, yeah, so it was a lot. It forced me a lot of my outside of my shell. And then do you know how you get like 5 visits, like official visits? So I remember before the official visits, my dad and I just did like a summer road trip, and we just went to different schools that had shown somewhat of an interest, just like get a feel for like the university, the campus, some of the coaches.
Mhm.
And then when it came time to do my official visits, I only did two. I wasn't trying to waste their time or my time. So I went to Illinois University and to Syracuse University, both which are ironically orange schools. But yeah, so after that, I ended up going with Syracuse because they had the program that I wanted. I always wanted to be a teacher, and they had a great education program. And then I had a really good relationship with the coaches at the time, too. I felt like I could trust them. I loved that the head coach was strong in his faith as well, which was important to me. My parents had a great relationship with the coaches. And then the beauty of Syracuse, too, it was 4 hours away. So far enough that I felt like I had my freedom and my independence, and I could grow into who I'm meant to be, but close enough that my dad didn't mind driving and they could come to a lot of like the home games and support and cheer us on. So to me, it was like a no-brainer.
Yeah, because it was only 4 hours away, right? A
Hmm
4 hour
Yeah,
drive. I had to
yeah.
Google it.
Uh, my dad loves to drive too. He prefers to drive over flying. So yeah, for him it was a piece of cake.
Mm, that's great. So to fast forward a little bit, in 2013 you were drafted first round, eighth pick to San Antonio Stars, and all of your hard work finally pays off. What was that moment like for you?
Pretty surreal. I remember I wasn't invited to the draft, which was fine with me. I stayed
Ditto.
on campus. Stayed on campus. That day, I remember we had a women's Bible study on campus. So I did all my classes, went to the Bible study, and then as soon as we closed in prayer, that's when my phone started blowing up. And
Wow.
You
the
weren't
first,
even watching?
no, I was Bible
That's
study. Yeah, so the first person that got through to me was one of my favorite teammates, and we're still really close to this day, Felicia. She called me and she's like, "Girl, you just got drafted," and congratulated me. And then the next person that got through to me was my assistant coach at the time, KB or Colonel Battle, and he actually had my parents on the line listening because they didn't have the channel back in Canada at the time. So he had his phone on speaker so that my parents could listen to the draft taking place. So like all of us were just on the phone afterwards celebrating, and then I celebrated with the girls that I was doing the Bible study with afterwards. So yeah,
Oh, that's wild.
yeah,
Wow. I love that you were like, I'm just doing my thing. Literally
yeah.
picked eighth in the first round of the draft. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, guess I'm on the team.
She's like,
Wow.
I wasn't invited, so I don't really plan to watch.
I don't know. I was always big on my. I don't know. Was it even that? No, I guess I just didn't realize the magnitude at the time. And then also too, I was just so focused on my studies. Like it was my senior year. I just wanted to finish strong, wanted to get my
Yeah.
courses done, get my degree. So it'd been a long
I
season.
I relate to that too with the WNBA draft stuff because
Mhm.
I think I was sit here and I was like, what was I? I was like 18th or something, and it wasn't. You don't understand the magnitude, especially back
Yeah.
then. Even
Mm.
we like everyone. We got everyone together, and I didn't know if I was getting picked or anything, and it was a phone call. And then when it happens, you're like, so what now?
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
you're not there. You're not celebrating. You're just
Right.
That's
Exactly.
crazy. Chelsea, where were you? Were you were just at your house and like watching on TV, or where were you at?
We were at our practice facility, and the coaches kind of had an inkling that I was going to get drafted. And so then they're like, let's just get together and have a watch party. That was pretty much it.
Oh, that's
But I like that
cool.
though. You got to celebrate with your teammates.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and at least you
nice.
saw yourself coming on screen on TV. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's cool.
Let's go.
Also,
So
I
cool.
think now too it's different, like especially with the rise and like the coverage women's sports is getting, how much it's grown
Mhm.
over the years. I feel like now it's like you start. I think maybe they appreciate the magnitude of it or like the accomplishment of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe back then I just took it for granted, or just didn't understand.
We didn't understand. It
Yeah.
was just like a pat on the back, like good job, hoorah.
Yeah.
And nowadays social media is like, yeah, let's blow
Yes.
it up.
That part.
Right.
It's-
I know
oh, yeah,
there's
true.
the glam, the orange carpet, the like fits that you rocked to the
Yes.
draft. Yeah, it's a whole
Mhm.
thing for sure. For sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because senior year too. I think that's when Instagram was starting to become like a bigger deal at the time too. Like I remember I didn't get an iPhone until like my senior year, I think, and I was like fighting getting Instagram because I was just didn't understand it, didn't see the point of
Yeah.
it. I was late to a lot of stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. I know. It's changed a lot. It's crazy. Well, let's talk about that transition for you from college basketball at Syracuse to the WNBA. What was it like? Did it surprise you? Was the level just like on a whole other level? Yeah, what was that like?
It was a major learning curve for me.
Mm,
It took me some time to like adjust. Not so much like the quickness of the game, like running up and down. I can run with you all day, but it was like the speed of the game, how quickly decisions took place, how quickly you had to react on defense, how quickly people
mm,
rotated. Also at Syracuse, we were known for our 2-3 zone, so my job was to stay in the paint, be big, sorry, and protect the paint. Now they want me to go out and hedge guards. They want me to like potentially switch, ice, like do all these different coverages that I didn't have that much experience doing. So
mm.
for me, it was a major learning curve. But I think what helped that as well, like outside of just practicing with my teammates every day, just getting used to that, going overseas and playing, that helped me tremendously to get that speed of the game, improve on my skill set, just my IQ, all of that. So it definitely took a couple years before I finally felt like I got my footing and could like hold my own in the league. But I'm thankful for the journey because I've been on both ends. I've been on the side where it's like the struggle, you're riding the bench, cheering on your teammates, and also I've been on the
Yeah.
other side where it's like, okay, lots of playing time. So I had to work my way up there, which I'm thankful for. So,
Mhm. And so you played for multiple organizations.
mhm.
Was there a favorite between Chicago Sky, Minnesota Lynx, Indiana Fever, San Antonio, and why would you say it's your favorite?
San Antonio, hands down.
Oh,
Was it because I was
wow.
there with
Yeah.
you?
Yes.
Quick answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like duh. Also, like I was there the longest. I felt like they helped me grow as not only as a player but as a human as well. I felt like I had roots there. I got connected with two church families while I was there, so I feel like I just really grew as a human being and as a basketball player during my time in San Antonio. So,
And Dan Hughes is such a
hmm
good coach. He's so
yeah,
like level-headed and welcoming, and he treats you like a human being, not like you're if you're a rookie on the team, he's not treating you like you're a dumb rookie still
yeah.
learning the system. Like he talks to the vets the same way he talks to the rookies, and he's
hmm
relatable. I think that was the big piece that I took away from when I was there. Like
Oh yeah.
he was a great coach, and we had so many great leaders on the team.
We
Mm,
got like yeah, we had some great vets. Like one of my favorite vets who I'll forever appreciate is Jane Appel.
Mm.
Jana Powell.
I remember in college, my coach KB, assistant coach, we'd watch film together, and he'd have me watching film of Jane Appel. He's like, "Look at how she runs the floor. Look at how she buries her
Mm,
defender in the paint, gets easy layups. I need you to do that." And then I'm her teammate, trying to like battle with her every day in practice. And the thing
yeah.
that I loved about her though is, you know how like sometimes you could have vets who are like they're just out to get you. Like they're not trying to help you at all. Like
They
it's
have their
about their money.
egos.
Yes. Like don't get me wrong, Jane was beating me up in practice, especially the first couple of years, or first year there. But she was also helping me too. Like
Yeah.
if she was defending me and I was supposed to be running an offense and I messed up, she'd be like, "Okay, Kayla, go get them, go set the screen there, and then you're gonna go do this." Like she was constantly
That's
helping me
cool.
develop as a player as well too, which I really respect and appreciated. And she always took care of the rooks. So
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
have so
That's
much love for
huge.
Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out
I love
Jane.
that.
Yes. And
Go
she's doing great
Jane.
things now for the W in general with the WNBPA.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
Yeah.
she's
amazing.
just a
That's awesome.
great human.
Yeah.
We also had Becky Hammond, who was injured at the
Yes.
time, but
hmm
she was still in and out, still there,
Yeah.
a huge presence. So that was just
hmm
really cool to kind of witness like her role on the team, even if
Yeah.
it wasn't playing. And
What
then
was her leadership style like, Chelsea and Kayla?
I feel like she was like a player's coach almost. Like
Hmm.
it doesn't surprise that she ended up going into coaching. Like she just knew the
Mm.
X's and O's, knew the game inside out, helped you in that sense. I don't know if you want to add any personal stories, but
I don't think I have too many personal stories. I wasn't there for crazy long because I had knee issues, so I didn't end up coming back. But she was I just appreciated her being there and giving her advice, and kind of giving us as like or me us as rookies like a little
Mhm.
tidbits here and there and guiding us. And it wasn't. I don't think I ever really felt super nervous because everybody was so welcoming and everyone
Mhm.
was such a blessing and as we stepped into that space.
Yeah. Sophia Young Malcolm as well too. She definitely took
Yeah.
me under her wing and I'm so thankful for her. Like she again, another beautiful human being, killer
Yeah.
basketball player. Learned so much from her. Yeah, they made San Antonio feel like home
I
while I
could
was there.
shout out
That's
the
so
whole
cool.
team, honestly,
Right.
between like,
Like Gia
between like,
Perkins as well. Like so many of
yeah,
them.
Shanice Johnson,
Yes, Mo.
Yeah,
Yes,
we have
there's
the
so many good
So
luxury.
ones. We got
cool.
lucky. We had some good
I
ones.
love that.
Yeah.
Did you have any, like, who was your fiercest competition in the WNBA or someone that you just hated playing against?
Huh. I don't think there's ever anybody I hated playing against. I remember having like, you know how everybody has like their welcome to the league moments?
Mm,
Um, I remember like being awestruck a little bit, but also like competing, and then just like going against Candace Parker and thinking I had a layup, and then my shot did not turn into a layup. Or the one time I remember we played against Kia Vaughn's team. I forget who she was playing for at the time, and she like posted me. I think she scored like three straight possessions against me, and then I got subbed out, and that was like a okay, Kayla, like a
yeah.
welcome to the league moment for me.
Welcome to the
Yeah,
league. Yeah.
yeah. Those learnings, yeah, a lot of learnings, but I'm thankful for all of it because it made me better, it helped me to improve my
Yeah,
game, and yeah,
Mhm.
got me to where I
for
am today.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so, also recently, well, you also represented Canada on the world stage numerous times with Tokyo 2020, Paris 2024 in the Olympics. In your opinion, what does it mean to wear the Canadian jersey and be on that platform? And how has that international play helped shape you as a player?
Yeah, I honestly, that's like the dream because,
Mm,
like, to me in my head, I'm just like, how blessed and fortunate am I that I get to play the sport that I love alongside women who I absolutely adore and have so much respect for, who are so talented. I get to represent my country at the highest stage, playing against the best in the world, doing what I love. Like, it doesn't get better than that. So for me, it's like an honor and a privilege. And also, I know how hard it is to make this team because it took me three
yes.
attempts to get on this team. So this is something that I just don't take for granted. Like, it's something I've wanted for a while, and to be able to experience it and be able to represent my country. And I hope I represent my country with pride and am a great example. But it's something that I'm so thankful for and don't take for granted at all. It's a privilege for sure.
Mm. Wow. Can you talk about this element of trying out for the team three separate times and not making the team? Like, how did
Yeah.
you stay locked in and continue to keep your confidence in yourself and that overarching goal of still making the team?
Oh, it was like this, but
Yeah.
so we know the first time I tried out was the senior year, going to my senior year of college. Didn't make it, and I just used that as motivation going into the WNBA and just working on my game. The second time I tried out, I'll be honest, after that I was a little, what's the word? Guess I was a little, I guess angry. Is angry the word?
Mm,
You can be
Yeah,
angry.
like I decided to like separate myself from kind of basketball for a bit. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll just
hmm
focus on WNBA and overseas and working on my game. But when you want something, like it doesn't die. Like it's still in there and like you want
Yeah.
it. So eventually I went back, tried out for the team, made the team when they were going to the World Cup in Tenerife. But unfortunately, we had two exhibition games before we left. They were in the USA. We played Team Japan, and then we played Team USA. And it was during the USA game that I did my MCL in my knee.
Mm,
So I had made the team finally, but it was short lived because then I was out for like 6 weeks. So that was frustrating. But then the second time, or the next time after that, I made the team and was able to be on the team, compete, and yeah. So it was a journey to get there. A lot of
Hmm.
frustrations along the way. Um, but I think honestly, I think it was just that love for the game that kept me going. Like, yes, I stepped back for a couple years after the first cut, but that love and that drive and that wanting to be able to compete for my country and how passionate I am about it wouldn't let me just stay on the sidelines. It was like, no, Kayla, get back in there. Like, you won't make the team unless you try. So,
Hmm. Yeah. And you also talk about how faith is such a huge piece of your story.
yes.
I think it's really important for people to understand that. But how did you handle those moments of failure and doubt through the lens of your faith? And then what advice would you give people through like to get through those challenges?
Yeah, so the biggest thing for me, and this is a lesson that I had to learn in college, was that for the longest time, my identity was wrapped up in basketball. I was Kayla, the basketball player. So when I was playing really well, I was on cloud nine, and when I was playing poorly, I was under the ground. It was a constant roller coaster that wasn't healthy and just a roller coaster of emotions. And I had to realize, like, Kayla, basketball's not who you are. It's what you do. It's something that God gave you. It's something that you're blessed and fortunate people to do. It's allowed you to get an education, eventually a career, but it's not who you are. And once I had to realize that my identity lies in Christ. And once I realized that aspect of it and realized who I belong to and who I truly am, it helped like even it out a bit. And then also just with my faith as well too, just knowing like basketball is a gift. Like this is something that God allows you to do. And like, yes, I'm gonna give my all to it and try to do it to the best of my abilities, but also know that one, it won't last forever and it can be taken away at any moment, whether it's through injuries, being cut from a team, whatever the case may be. So it also forced me to appreciate the moment and the journey with the sport and appreciate the times I do get to play and be on the court. But yeah, my faith has helped me and I think shaped me into the person I am today, which I'm very thankful for because before it was just a mess. Roller coaster.
For sure. I definitely relate to identity being wrapped up in basketball
Yeah.
and kind of getting your self-worth from being great at your sport.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, for me, like God reorienting that in my life and being like, hey, you're a daughter of the king. Your basketball thing is great, but like that doesn't define you, you know?
Mhm.
And even now, like I've started my own business and it's tough to not let my identity get caught up in being the best at having a sports agency and performing, but really kind of keeping my self-worth rooted in who God made me to be is huge. So yeah, I resonate. I love that.
Yes.
Preach, Bree, preach.
Yes, we're out here.
We're out here. I do think it's so easy to lose track when you're chasing a dream on like
Mhm.
into work faith into your day to day, especially as an athlete where you're like you feel invincible at times until you get humbled and you have
Oh
those
yeah.
those knee injuries and those challenges, especially like overseas. But those challenges are laced not just in your at the professional level, they're any level. But you also, I don't know, we didn't talk about this before, but you also got rebaptized while you were in
Yes.
France with Chantel, one of our
Mhm.
friends.
Oh, no way. What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
yeah. What was that
Um,
like? Tell us about where you got baptized.
Cool. Okay. So I guess I'll start by saying ever since I was like a kid, I've always been obsessed with like France. I don't know why. Just love,
Yeah,
I always took
because it's the
French
best.
classes, right?
On adore
Like
la France.
Paris,
Voila.
I, right? The croissants, everything. So I always took French all the way through school. My mom said that when I was younger, I'd always turn the Canadian stations or the stations in Canada to the French stations. And she's like, Kayla, you know that's not English, French? And I was like, yeah, but it's so pretty. So she put me in French. The first time I ever went to France, I was like 16 years old and was with the national team or NIDA, the National Elite Development Academy that I was playing with at the time. So yeah, just always had this obsession with France. So it's just really interesting and cool how God works. So while I was playing in France, I was dating somebody at the time who I had no business dating, but everything's a lesson.
We all
And I
got
just felt,
those.
yeah, and
Mhm.
I just felt like I had been falling like so far from God. Like I felt like how do I say this? I felt like he had given me up to given me into like my temptations, and I just didn't feel like I had a connection with him anymore. I was just falling like further and further away from him, and I was like, okay, Kayla, I got to get back on track. Like this is not how I want to live. Like this is not who you want to be, etc. So I reached out to Chantel because I knew that she's always sharing her faith publicly, which I adore. And I was like, you go to a global church, right? Is there one around here in France somewhere? Like I'm in Bourges, there's the one near me. And there was one in Paris. So it was a 2 hour train
Mm.
ride. So she
What
connected me
church
with
was it was on?
it just the ICC, International Christian
Okay,
Church.
cool.
So
Yeah.
she connected me with the leader there, and we went through some Bible studies, and then eventually I started attending the churches. Like we always had Sundays off usually for practice, so I would do the 2 hour train ride, spend the day, go to church, and then come back. And then after I finished the Bible studies, I realized like, wow, like there's so much that I didn't know through studying out the Word, like how like what God calls us to do. Like he calls us to obey his commands, to love one another, but to be disciples, like true disciples. And if I'm being honest, I always thought there was Christians and disciples. They're the same thing. But in my head, they're just two separate things. And like we're called to share God's word with others and to share the gospel of what Jesus did for us on the cross with all the nations. So once I came into like understanding that better, I was like, okay, I got to get baptized because I know the truth now. Like I understand. So I got baptized in the Seine basically like the river underneath the
Was it
Eiffel
Dirty
still
Tower.
little girl.
dirty?
I don't know.
I know all
I
the
was gonna
people saying all
say.
the stuff about like the sand from like the Olympics, but I
You've
was
been
fine. I was
washed
healthy.
clean, but you're pretty dirty
Yes.
now.
Took a nice hot shower afterwards, got all cleaned up. But yeah, that
Oh,
was
I
like
love
a
it.
cool, surreal moment. I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
all jokes aside, that's really cool. It's very, very
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's funny how God works. He'll use everything. He'll use it all for his glory
And
and for his work.
Chantel came to visit you.
Yes. Yeah, she came to visit for for my baptism, which was pretty
Oh my
awesome too. I
gosh,
thought
I
that was
love
so
That's a real
sweet.
that.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Chantel's my girl. Love her.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
She's great. She's great. Mhm. So she's been
So,
helping.
yeah, I was just gonna say, in addition to being, top level athlete, you are also an artist, and you have illustrated and written a kids book called The Magic of Basketball, and you did this alongside your sister. What
Yeah.
was? Oh yeah, there's a little
Yeah.
shout out. We love that. What was the inspiration behind this?
Honestly, just my life with basketball. I'm a big journaler. Like I journal a lot. And when I was just reflecting on my life and like the journey basketball has taken me on, I realized that it's given me so much. Like the life lessons I've learned, the friends I've made over the years, how much it's helped me with my communication skills, getting me out of my shell from a shy little kid to who I am now. Um, just like a free education, the travel. Like I would not have seen nearly as many places I've seen without basketball. So I wanted to find a way to share basically the lessons and life skills it's given me with other kids, with other people, and then just show the power of sports too. I'm also a huge believer in the power of sports, especially for young girls, because I feel like so many are dropping out and they're not playing, and they're missing out on all these intangible things that sports gives us. Like you
Yeah,
don't have to go play pro, but just playing, you learn so many invaluable things that you carry with you the rest of your life. So I was
100%.
like, how can I take all this and like put it together nicely for like kids to get like a nice lesson out of it. And that's how the children's book came up. And then also I've always loved to draw. Like since I was a little kid, I always was doodling. I haven't done much of it a lot lately since life's a little hectic at times, but I
Oh
love to
yeah.
draw. So I wanted to find a way to combine all these passions together, and it's in the book.
Yeah. And that also kind of leads us into the other brand that you're co-founder of is
Mhm.
Tall Size. Because
Yeah.
I remember you used to doodle or not doodle, illustrate
Yeah.
fashion all the time, and
Mhm.
you would kind of show it on your social media. And so lately you've been traveling a lot doing pop-ups for Tall
Yes.
Size. Can you tell us a little bit more about like what that brand is and your mission and the goal of it for you?
Yep. So my friend that got me into basketball, Nicole, is also the same friend who I co-founded Tall Size with. And basically
Wow.
Tall Size, yeah, yep. She's
It's
like
full circle. That's
lifelong
wild.
friends.
So you
Mhm.
you you both started playing together when you're like 10 and now you founded a company together?
Yep. Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah. So tall, we're both tall. I'm 6'4", Nicole's 6 foot, and we both struggle to find clothes, shoes that fit our bodies. I can't remember the
Hmm.
last time I walked into a mall and bought something because I just gave up on that because it
Yep.
was
Yeah.
a frustrating experience. So I remember Nicole called me when I was playing in Belgium, complaining while she was walking her dog. She's like, my wrists are cold. Do you have the same problem? And I was like, girl, welcome to the club. She's like, how can we solve this? So originally our idea was, why don't we just start our own clothing line? So we did a lot of research and we realized that there's actually a lot of tall brands that exist. Just they're small businesses. So a lot of people don't know about them or they're hard to find and discover. So then we pivoted and we put together like this MVP essentially of all the brands that we could find across the globe that cater to tall women. And pretty much created this engine where it's like, okay, if you type in what you're looking for, like the inseam and where it ships, where they ship to, you can, or where you want to ship, it'll show you a list of all the brands. And people love this, but they're like, we wish that we could just shop them instead of having to like click out to each link. So then we're
Mm.
like, what if we created like a marketplace? So I remember when we first started it, we had like 6 brands. We like begged them. We're like, can you please just test this idea out with us? Be on our platform. You can be on it for free. Test it out for 6 months and see how it goes. And they did it. And at first, some people were like, we'd get emails like, "Is this a scam? I want to, but I'm not sure if it's real." So it was like a process. Today, though, now we have close to 30 brands in our platform. We partner with different brands that cater specifically to tall women. And how it works is it's dropship model. So let's say you want a pair of jeans from Alloy Apparel, you want a dress from Live Tall, and you want some dress pants from Prissy Duck. You can order it all on our platform, tallsize.com, and those orders will be fulfilled by those brands and shipped directly to you. But it's like the tall size experience. You shop it on our website. We take care of customer service, all that. So that's what we built. And then as we continue to grow, a lot of women said that this was great. Finally, a place where they can find all these different items online, one place. And then the next question was, this is great, but I wish we could try your stuff on before we bought. So then we're like, okay, how can we make this work? Because we don't want to open just any store because tall women exist everywhere. We're like, how can we bring tall size to multiple women across the USA and Canada? And then we're like, pop-up shops. So we tested out the idea last year in LA and Chicago. Huge success. Then we're like, let's ramp it up. This year we're doing 8. We've done 6 so far. We have 2 more left in the next stop's in Atlanta, October 25th, 26th, and then Orlando, God permitting, with all the weather going on, November 8th and 9th. And then that will be the conclusion of our tour for this year. So that's essentially how Tall Size came to be and the pop-ups.
And it's crazy because you had the Olympics. So how fast,
Yes.
how much of a break did you actually get? Because I know you said Nicole was doing the pop-ups without you for a little bit.
Yeah. So when I was in season, she did all the ones in the springtime, and I would do. So we tag team really well. We work so well together. So like if she was there, she'd capture footage from different people, put it in a Dropbox or whatever, and then I would create like at least like the reels and things just to help each other out, or I'll do the customer service, etc. And now we kind of flipped. So now I'm running the pop-ups this fall, and she's doing the behind the scenes stuff to help amplify it and get more people to know about it. But yeah, also she just had her son Liam, her first child, about a month ago, over a month ago. So it doesn't make sense for her to be traveling. And I was like, it's my turn. So I'm doing all the 4 fall pop-ups this year. But it's been so much fun. Like every time we do one of these, just seeing the woman when they walk into the store and they're like a kid in a candy shop, they're like, all these things are like tall specific. These are going to fit me. Or when they walk out of the change room and the pants are like too long, or like they finally hit the floor for a change, or they're like, finally something that fits me well. Like just being able to have that kind of impact to empower tall women, make them feel seen and heard and celebrated finally. That's the best. It makes all the hard work, because it's a lot of hard work. Entrepreneurship is not easy, but it makes it all worth it.
On the side of being a pro baller.
Didn't have much of a break, but I love what I do, so it keeps me motivated, it keeps me going.
Yeah, I think it's huge. Also like being a tall kid, you grow up and you can't find the right size shoes, or you always have to have the men's size. And you really want the cool shoes, but the cool shoes aren't like in your size. You have to go to the adult stuff. So I think it's like really cool that you're doing that, because it's very empowering, especially to young girls, young women trying to just figure out themselves and figure out their lives. Because another example of something similar to that is like Audie Crooks at Iowa State. She is a tall girl. She's 6'4", and a lot of times she couldn't find a jersey to fit her. And so Nike, I know Nike created her a jersey that was going to fit exactly for her. And that's awesome. Hearing from her how special that moment was, and from how the Nike team was just willing to go above and beyond for her in order to make her feel welcomed and empowered and loved on, I think is really special.
That goes a long way. That goes a long way.
Yeah,
I love that.
Definitely. That's cool. I love that. So would love to ask you a question, which is, looking back on your playing career, what advice would you give to your 13-year-old self?
Ooh, so many things. There's so many things. Can I give like a little like hit list?
Yeah,
sure.
Okay, so the first one, I'd always say, I laugh about this, but I'm so serious. Kayla, yes, I know that you're a tall girl and they're going to put you in the post, but work on your ball handling skills, because the game is changing and evolving, and you need to be able to handle the ball. So work on your ball handling skills. Anytime I see a young, tall girl who plays basketball, I'm like, work on the dribbles, because it's going to help you. You're going to need it.
Yep.
So that's number one.
Also, you don't ever want to be embarrassed.
That too. Ball handling. The other piece of advice I would give is don't be afraid to make mistakes and failure. Like that's part of the human experience. We're all gonna fail. We're all gonna make mistakes. Don't seek out perfection. Just seek out bringing your absolute best every single time and learning,
Yeah.
because that's how you get better. So that's definitely number 2 for sure. And then I guess number 3, looking back, what I'd tell Kayla, just enjoy the journey. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be all roses and sunshine. They're going to have some rough moments, but enjoy the journey. Take the lessons. Lean on those around you. It'll all be worth it in the end. Can I throw this back at you too? What would you guys each say if you had to give that?
Well, we weren't ready for that.
I know, I wasn't ready. I've
Put y'all
asked
on
this
the
question
spot.
to like a good amount of people. And good question. Chels?
I'm gonna have to edit this silence out. Honestly, I think I don't know. I would say that it's all gonna be fine. You're gonna go through a lot of challenges. You're gonna go through a lot of emotional roller coaster times, and it's all for a reason to get you to being a better person with better character, and just you're predestined to go through all of these things for a reason. So that would be my. I'm trying to think of like who I was at that age. So
I like that.
Yeah, I think mine would be like believe in yourself and just embrace the journey. I think as a 13-year-old, I was kind of stressed. I was very driven. I'm like, I'm going to play in college already at 13. I remember going to like, I want to be a college basketball player camp, had my little notebook. I was locked in.
Bree,
and
I can't imagine this.
Oh yeah, no, I was about it. I would journal after. I had a basketball journal, and I would journal after my games, like how I played. Really into it. Yeah, it was a lot. But I think that if I had maybe just, I think I would just tell myself like, you're okay. Like it doesn't need to be so serious, and it's gonna work out. And just continue to believe in yourself and like have a lighthearted spirit about it. I think that probably would have been a good piece of advice.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Do you think our 13-year-old selves would say that to us now?
Like give our
probably
advice,
right. That's a word for you. Chill out. It's gonna be fine.
I need to tell myself that. And I'm old. Okay.
Good.
Well, I think
if you're old, then I'm old. We're young. We're still young.
Same. My knees are old. My mentality is very young.
Yes. There we go.
Well, I think that brings us to not our final question, but before we get to the lightning round, we always like to ask our guests, do you have any advice that you would like to give our listeners regarding achieving their full potential and their giftings to share love and light and make the world a better place?
Ooh. I guess the first thing I'd say is just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Like if it's something that you love, that you're passionate about, if you feel like there's something that God put on your heart to do, something that you're passionate about, that you think is going to have an impact on others, do it. And don't wait for perfect. If you wait for perfect, or if you wait until you think you're ready, you're gonna be waiting forever. Like you're gonna learn and gain the skills that you need along the way throughout the journey. You're already equipped with what you need, and the things that are lacking, you'll either make great relationships that will help you, or you'll learn in the process. So I say if there's something that you're passionate about that you want to do, just put yourself out there and take the first step and try. Because if you don't try, you'll never know. So, and I said this to my 12-year-old self, but don't be afraid of the failure. It's part of the human experience. It's how you learn. Failure is okay. I think sometimes we put too much emphasis on like, oh, I'm afraid to like mess up, but that's how we learn.
Right.
How can you know what you don't know? So,
yeah,
it's a word. I love that. All right. Well, that takes us to our lightning round. So, lightning round for a quick little overview. These are quick questions, answering in about 30 seconds. Are you ready?
Nope, but let's do it.
Okay, let's go. If your life had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh my gosh.
I was like, is she frozen?
A theme song. What?
Like, is there any song that you listen to before games that really just...
See, this is like a running joke between me and some of my teammates. I'm that one person who like doesn't listen to music before a game.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm that
silence
Wow.
person.
person.
Like I don't need
Yeah.
it.
You're really whole on the inside. That's how I feel about those
Yeah,
people.
like if other people are playing
Exactly.
it, cool, but I don't really need. Can we come back to that? Let me like think about it for a second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can let you think on it. All right,
Yes.
second question. If you should have looked over the questions before.
I really should have. Not prepared.
All right, second question. If you could have any superpower while playing basketball, what would it be and how would you use it?
Well, my favorite one that I'd always love to have is just teleportation. And
No.
then, yeah, I feel like that would
Teleport to
just be
dunk.
great. Yep,
Yeah.
teleport to dunk, teleport to take charges, to get all the steals. Yeah, I'd be getting buckets and getting stops.
I love it.
That's a good one.
All right, next question. What's one quirky or surprising hobby that your fans maybe don't know about you that you do?
Um, I don't know if you, there's a hobby that I do. I don't
Are you
know if
like a
this counts as
knitter?
stuff. I just love a good nap.
Okay,
And I
Professional
don't know if that's a
napper.
hobby, but I'm like the queen of the naps. I love to nap.
the nap queen, Kayla the nap
Yes.
queen. You heard it
I
here.
love a good nap. Yeah. And when I'm overseas, not so much at home, but when I'm overseas, I love to bake because I love cookies, like Cookie Monster.
Ooh.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Love.
Yep.
All right, next question. What's the most unexpected place or moment that has inspired your artwork for a tall size or your illustrations?
Ooh. I'm gonna answer and say Australia because that's actually where I did most of the illustrations for the children's book while I was playing over there. And just being in Australia, like the natural beauty there is just
Mm-hmm.
unreal.
Hmm.
It's gorgeous over there. If anybody ever gets a chance, I highly recommend going to Australia, doing a trip, visiting. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
And not really any snow.
Yes, that too. You're like that. I'm snowed out.
Hmm. Okay, last question. If basketball didn't exist, what alternate career path do you think you would have pursued? And how would you have still found a way to uplift others?
So, in grade 1 and grade 2, I had this teacher, Madame Cassette, and she was amazing. She like never yelled at us. When she wanted our attention, she would play her flute. I think it was a recorder. She actually helped me with my art skills. Like she brought out my artistic side, and she was just amazing. And she actually skipped my sister at grade 2 because she saw like how smart she was, and she was like, "You need to school on to the next grade." It's because of her that I want to become a teacher. So I always had the goal. That's why I went to get education because of her. So I always thought I was going to be like a art or history teacher, and I would probably use teaching to inspire kids in some capacity, whether it was like encouraging them or getting them to see like bring out their talents and the things inside of them. So
Yeah. Shout out to the teachers. Those are honestly the real MVPs. My
seriously,
sixth grade teacher, Mrs. Marquardt, she was like, "You're smart. You've got this." And I remember that like just had such an impact in my life. I'm like, oh, wait, I am good at school. Okay. Just having someone believe in you like that, it's crazy
yes,
what that can unlock in you. It's really cool.
Yeah, and it's just the people who are kind to you
yes,
at that age. There's a lot of
Mhm.
I want to say shade from other like elementary kids, but like there's just a lot of kids that just could be mean or whatever, and there's a lot of parents who aren't always so kind. So I think it's you remember the ones that loved you most, and
Mhm.
yeah, I love that.
For sure.
All right, did you have a answer for the theme song?
Not really. But the first one that popped into my head is "Life Is a Highway." I don't know if that works
Okay. Why
or not.
not? Little Tim
I don't know why
McGraw.
that song jumped into my head right now,
Yeah.
but oh, actually no, I got one. Uh, it's a new song. Life is good.
Oh,
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
yeah, Frank
I can't
sing.
sing. There, yeah, I think that one. I like that song.
Yes. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
we'll go with that.
Love that.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
Well, Kayla, it's been great having you on the show and kind of sharing your story and everything that you're doing right now. For our listeners, we will add all of Kayla's information and any information about tall size. If you want to go order her children's book, if you have kids or nephews or nieces that would enjoy it, we'll provide the link in our show notes, and you can follow along with Kayla's journey. So thanks for joining, Kayla.
Thanks for
Thanks,
having me. This was
Kayla.
fun.